I just hadn't fixed upstairs, so let me see if I can figure out what's going on up there. John just got that on, has it been on for a while?
No, it's been on since for over an hour.
Well, shucks, and I think it might be out then. Let me see if I can get some more air in here.
That'd be good.
Yeah. It's a shorter class today, that's okay.
It looks like it.
Less people in a shorter class.
Is it working, or just have to put a button?
No, he said it's working, so it's probably working right now.
Right. Thank you. Are you ready to go then?
His idea of working, you might feel are different.
There's several people that are supposed to be heading in.
They're probably out there stealing the kids' eggs in.
Well, they're taking pictures of them and everything.
Kids chasing their hot-nosed eggs down.
Thought you were out there stealing their candy.
I was gonna go get them. That's right.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, Gwen?
Good, thank you.
Fine.
Excuse me. I'm gonna spill your coffee if you leave it to me, I'll make a mess. Okay, Doris, this is a compromise for me.
Okay.
I didn't see Susan and Mark today.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah.
I know that she's got Bible study tomorrow.
Oh.
So they just might have gone away for the weekend or something. I'll open this back up in a few minutes when it calms down some out there, so that more air gets in here. The air conditioning's not working in here right now.
Yeah.
Take your sweaters off.
Yeah, it wasn't working in here earlier this week too.
Oh, really? Well, Josh knows about it. He's trying to do something right now.
Yeah.
And we're probably gonna have a couple of other people joining us. Prayer requests.
My cousin Carrie,
Yes.
she's doing better. She did get pneumonia, and they did do a trach on her last week. It's been, 10 weeks now, Mother?
I think so. Yeah.
But she had a lung transplant, and
I thought it was kidney.
Liver.
liver. So, liver. You think this one is a liver? It was a liver transplant. So she did get pneumonia. That's doing better. Then they found an infection in her bile duct. And they did find it, so they can treat it now. So we think she's on the road to recovery. It's been a rough up and down,
They put a tracheotomy in
just a few days
because
ago.
they had intubated her.
So many times.
And he intubated her like 12 times, so she couldn't talk.
She's alert and she can kind of communicate with the board with her daughter as of yesterday. So she's, that gives her infection, just to pray for her bile duct infection. That'll be healed.
Tell us her name again.
Carrie Bourne.
And we have several people that are going to be traveling here shortly. And so, travel mercies for them.
And you know what, we always say travel mercies, but today I wrote it out that we would be aware of God's grace and mercies as we travel home. We're asking others, but for us to watch for those times that He provides.
And I know God works this way in my life, and I couldn't help but think this in the sermon this morning as the pastor was talking about Luke and how he had, basically been cast out by Paul. He said, I'm going to leave, I'm not ready for this or whatever. And Paul just said,
Mark, wasn't it?
Mark said, and Paul said, don't come back. That's basically what he said. And to Mark.
Yeah.
Mark was traveling with he and Barnabas. And Mark was a young guy. He was probably Barnabas' nephew. And he basically, they got into some rough times, and Mark said, I can't handle this. We don't know exactly what happened there, but he left and went back to Jerusalem. He went back home. And Paul was mad enough that he said, you leave, don't come back. Now later in Paul's life, he came to trust in Mark. And he said, Mark, bring me my coat. I'm in jail, bring me my coat. So we know that they were back in touch. But I have to wonder if that isn't when Mark went back to Jerusalem and wrote the book of Mark.
Well, I think he wrote for a long time after that.
And so he would have to have been depressed, he would have to have been seeking God, he would have had to, what's going on. And I know those are usually the deepest times in my life. And I have to wonder if that wasn't when God used him to write the book of Mark. Anyway, can somebody lead us in prayer?
Father, thank you again for another day. Thank you. Your Son is arose. He's given us a path to eternal life. Pray, Lord, for those that are sick, our country at war. I pray that our leaders would turn to you for salvation, for leadership, to follow in the paths that you decreed for us. I thank you for Doris and Buddy and for their willingness to help us to understand what's to come before us and what you taught. Again, we thank you for Easter, for the risen, and for the empty tomb. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
It could be a simple breaker for the condensing unit on the air conditioner. Has that already been checked?
No, they didn't check it.
Mind if I run and check that?
Go for it.
We might vote for yes.
You know where the panels are, right?
Right around here.
Right down towards the men's room on the
We've got a
left.
little bit of review anyway. Okay, so today we're going to do Revelation chapter 20. If you remember, this is what we call the tribulation, the 7-year period. And the last half of it, Jesus says, is the great tribulation. And so Jesus comes back at the end of the great tribulation, and then we start into the millennium. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Here's the end of the great tribulation right here. Satan is bound here, and that's what happened at the very end of what we were talking about last time. And Jesus is ruling and reigning from here on for 1,000 years. And this is what that part about Satan and the false prophet, what happened to them. Go ahead and read for me, go ahead.
Then the beast was captured, and with him the false prophet who worked signs in his presence, by which he deceived those who received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped his image. These two were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone.
Now 1,000 years in the future, they're still going to be there. And notice they're in the lake of fire. Next.
And the rest were killed with a sword which proceeded from the mouth of him who sat on the horse. And all the birds were filled with their flesh.
Who's the rest? It's not, there are still some people on earth that are Christ believers, possibly even the 144,000. They're not the rest. It's the rest of the people that don't recognize Jesus as their Lord. So, the cleanup at the end of the tribulation, right here. Enemies are killed, nations are subjugated, and Satan is bound. And Zechariah tells us this. Were you able to find out anything?
No, something else.
Pastor said that the air conditioning guy was here last week.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he screwed something up.
How often do we say that?
Okay, so this is out of Zechariah 14.
And this will be the plague with which the Lord strikes all the peoples who have warred against Jerusalem. Their flesh will rot while they stand on their feet, and their eyes will rot in their sockets, and their tongues will rot in their mouth.
Does this remind you of I think it was the Last Crusade, you know what I'm talking about, the movie? Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and at the end there when they, or one of them, when they opened the ark or whatever, and this is what happens. This is what's pictured there. But this is what Zechariah says is going to happen to the rest of the people that are on earth that have warred against Jerusalem. And it continues.
Then all the survivors from the nations that came against Jerusalem will go up year after year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. And should any of the families of the earth not go up to Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, then the rain will not fall on them.
Okay, so there are survivors from the nations that came against Jerusalem. So not all people are dead at this point. Some of them believe that the Lord is Lord. They come up and they worship the King, the Lord of hosts, at the Feast of Tabernacles. That's the fall feasts. And if they don't come, what happens to them? They don't get rain on their crops. So this cleanup that happens here, how long is it going to take? Is it going to take a couple of days? Is Jesus going to just snap his fingers and it's done? Is it going to take years? Because we know that a new temple has to be there. Is Jesus going to go poof and the temple's there? Or is he going to depend on us to build that temple? We don't know. This whole thing could take years. And if it does, it might actually be part of this 7 years and not the millennium. Or should I say, this 50 years that we're in that we talked about. In other words, all of those things, we know that at the end of this 50 years that we're in right now, Jesus is going to be ruling and reigning on earth. So is all of that done and the temple rebuilt by that time? Maybe. So the rapture could happen anytime, guys. Revelation 20. What's the millennium? Well, after we get done with the 7-year tribulation, we go into the millennium. And in eschatology, there's 3 different views of the millennium. There's the amillennial view. You don't believe in a literal millennium. And the preterism falls into this. Everything has already been fulfilled that's in the Bible, they believe. I'm afraid I'm not there. Then there's postmillennial. They believe we are already in the millennium. I'm afraid
Things are getting better.
yeah, I find a hard time believing things are getting better. And premillennial, they believe in a literal millennium as presented in Revelation 20, Isaiah 65, and the Dead Sea Scrolls. And I think that's where most of us are. Now, remember, the Dead Sea Scroll calendar, the last 1,000 years here is the kingdom age, when Messiah is going to rule and reign. The Testament of Levi and the Dead Sea Scrolls. So this is Jacob's son Levi, one of the 12 brothers. This was part of his testimony. Just read next.
When the age of wickedness is complete, all unrighteousness will pass away. The time of righteousness is coming, and the earth will be full of the knowledge and glory of God. In this age of peace, the true laws and the righteous testimony will instruct those in the ways of God and his mighty deeds forever. Every tongue will bless him. Everyone will bow down to serve him with one mind.
So that sounds like what we're talking about here. Excuse me, did you find Judy?
No, Barb's looking for him, I'm looking for her.
We hope that Judy just went ahead and started walking home. She started coughing in church and got up, and they figured she was just going out to cough, but she never came back, and now they can't find her.
She, anyway, I imagine she just took off walking home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep an eye on my phone.
Can you tell from your phone where she is?
No.
You need to put that app on your phone.
She doesn't ever take her phone with her.
Oh shit, that doesn't do any good then. Okay, so that's okay. So Revelation 20. Who's next?
Can't find her. She left. Anyway, Barb's looking for her.
Your turn, Susan.
She probably took off walking.
Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand.
Okay, this bottomless pit is also called the abuso in the Hebrew. And this angel is coming down with a key to the bottomless pit. Now, in Jewish theology, Hades is the underworld, and there's two sides of it. The place of torment and Abraham's bosom. This is also called paradise over here. When you died, you went to one of these two, and there was an impassable gulf in between. In Luke, Jesus tells us about this when it's not really a parable, he's telling us a story about a rich man and a poor man. And one of them ends up in Abraham's bosom, the other one in the place of torment. But at the bottom of that is the bottomless pit. This is where there's a key. This angel has a key to the bottomless pit, and he puts them there.
I'll read the Judy's with Barbara.
Oh, good. You want to read, Gene?
Yeah. He laid hold of the dragon, that serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years.
Who binds Satan? It's this angel. If today the millennium has already started, Satan's chain is too long. Satan is not equal to God or Jesus. Satan is bound by a nameless angel. This is out of, again, the testimony of Levi, Dead Sea Scrolls.
Is it Belial?
And Belial is Satan. Okay.
Okay, will be bound by him, and he will give power to his children to tread upon the evil spirits. The Lord will rejoice in his children and will be well pleased in his beloved forever.
So Satan is going to be bound by God forever, and God's children, he will give power to God, his children, God's children, to tread upon the evil spirits.
And he cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal on him, so that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years were finished. But after these things, he must be released for a little while.
Now, there are people who live through the tribulation. We've already talked about that. They will be procreating. Thank you. They will be procreating during the 1,000-year millennium. At the end of the 1,000 years, Satan is released. Why? Maybe to test those people that were born during the millennium. Next.
And I saw thrones, and they sat on them, and judgment was committed to them. Then I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded for their witness to Jesus and for the word of God, who had not worshipped the beast or his image, and had not received his mark on their foreheads or on their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years.
So who are these souls that are reigning with Christ? It gives a description there. It seems, those who were beheaded for their witness for Jesus, for the word of God, who had not worshipped the beast in his image, and had not received the mark on their foreheads. They're going to be ruling and reigning with Christ. It seems that the church, or some set of it, is reigning with Christ. Joanne, it's not working.
Got it. Hot air in here. It's me, sorry.
It's not, it's not a long lesson today.
To him who overcomes, I will grant to sit with me on my throne, as I also overcame and sat down with my Father on his throne.
Now this was from Revelation 3. Remember when we were going through the churches? To him who overcomes, the overcomers, the people who didn't do the things that, the people that did the things they were supposed to do and didn't do the things they weren't supposed to do, they'll be sitting with Jesus on his throne. And this is from the letter to Laodicea. And this is from the Song of the Redeemed in Revelation 5, again, earlier in the book.
For you were slain and have redeemed us to God by your blood, out of every tribe and tongue and people and nation, and have made us kings and priests to our God. And we shall reign on the earth.
So, these people that were slain for God are going to rule with reign on earth, help Jesus. Next, we go back.
But the rest of the dead did not live again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he who has part in the first resurrection. For such the second death has no power, but they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years.
Okay, so the first resurrection is Old Testament saints. That's described in those verses. The church, described in those verses. Tribulation martyrs, we just read about. And tribulation saints, the living worship not the beast. In the millennium, there's all kinds of changes that happen during the millennium. There's physical changes to the earth. And we read about those. The curse is lifted. We're back like Eden, okay? That's described there. The lion will lie down with the lamb. Creation is redeemed, and that's talked about there. And the earth is in the full knowledge of the Lord. So everybody knows God. Again, from the Testament of Levi.
Gentiles will be multiplied in knowledge on the earth and enlightened through the grace of the Lord. In his priesthood, all sin will come to an end. The lawless will rest from evil, and the just will rest in him. He will open the gates of paradise and will remove the threatening sword against Adam. He will give to his saints to eat from the tree of life, and the spirit of holiness will be on them.
He's going to go ahead and open the gates of paradise. That's that good side of Hades. Will people die in the millennium? And this is from Isaiah.
And there will no longer be in it a young boy who lives only a few days, or an old person who does not live out his days. For one who dies at 100 years will be thought a mere youth, and one who falls short of 100 years will be considered accursed.
So it sounds like there's going to be very long lifetimes again. And we'll notice this, one who falls short of 100 years will be considered a curse. Will sin cause people to be struck down? Sounds like it. So the millennium, it's not eternity, heaven, or the new earth. Each person will have his own land. It will be fruitful. There will be limited evil, which will be judged immediately. And there's going to be a millennial temple. And we have a description of the millennial temple in Ezekiel 40 through 48. All the nations are going to worship there. They're going to offer sacrifices that are going to resume, animal sacrifices. A lot of people go, what? But they're remembrances for what Jesus did for us, rather than before they were things that people were doing looking toward what Jesus was going to be doing for us. And this, the temple is only open on the Sabbath day and the new moons. Now, this was the original tabernacle, like it was out in the desert for 40 years after they did it. Now, this is Solomon's temple. It was a little bit bigger and it had a lot more stuff in it. Ezekiel's temple is a little bit bigger yet, and it has even more outer gates and outer places in it.
Was it turned?
Yeah, I turned. Yeah.
Okay, you turned it, but the temple was never turned in the direction.
No, that's still
always faced east.
Yes, this is east. This is east.
Okay.
This is east. Yeah, and there's east. What's the big deal with east? The sun rises in the east, and the sun comes in. And if these doors are open, it hits all the way inside. And in Ezekiel, it also tells us about the temples up here. It's not in Jerusalem proper. It's up here. There is a river, a stream that comes out from underneath God's throne. And it comes down here and goes into Jerusalem. And it splits there. And this is the living quarters for the sons of Zadok up here. These are the Levites. And that's in here. And above it and below it, you have the division of the land for the Jews. So who's going to be in charge? Matthew tells us this.
When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory.
Jesus is going to reign, and he's going to be sitting on his throne. Next.
And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, judging and seeking judgment and hasting righteousness.
Okay, so it's going to be in the tabernacle of David. That would imply Jerusalem. Now, we know that we think this is what the Ark of the Covenant looked like, right? Well, ancient thrones, here you have a base, and on top of the base you have this lid, which has this on it. We don't know the configuration of these angels. We know that there were two of them. We know that their feet were at the ends. We know certain things about them. We know their wings touched. Was it all four wings? Was it only two wings? We don't know. Their wings touched. This is what a throne looked like at that time. It had a base, and then it would have had the chair part sitting on top of it. And notice wings here. So is this what we're talking about with something similar to this? Is this what we're talking about for the Ark of the Covenant, actually? That the wings touched in the back, making a back. And you've got actually a throne there. Many people believe that when Jesus comes back, this is going to be his throne. The Ethiopians believe they have it. They say that the bottom part, which was wood covered in gold, has disintegrated. This has not disintegrated. And they believe that, in fact, they believe they were supposed to take it to Messiah when he came. And they think that that's the reason that the Ethiopian eunuch might have gone. Remember the story in Acts about the Ethiopian eunuch who was sent to Jerusalem by the queen of Ethiopia. And he's bewildered, and he comes back, he's headed back to Ethiopia. And who is it that was told that Philip was transported to where he was, and Philip's running alongside his chariot and says, you want to know what that's talking about in Isaiah? And he tells him, and the Ethiopian eunuch is saved. But we think that he was sent up there to see if it was time to send the throne up. If Jesus was ready to become king. Who's next?
Now when the 1,000 years have expired, Satan will be released from his prison.
And will go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, whose number is at the sand of the sea.
So Ezekiel 38:39 is before the millennium, and there we had a Gog and Magog also. In fact, we think that's what this war might be. Many people think this is what this war might be right now, because all the characters are there. And so we're concerned. Go home and read Ezekiel 38:39. It's worth reading. Now, Gog is the king of the locusts, it tells us in Amos, and he's Satan's military commander. Magog, is it Russia? Don't know. But is this a pattern? We have a Gog and Magog before, and a Gog before the millennium, and a Gog and Magog after the millennium. Maybe.
They went up on the breadth of the earth and surrounded the camp of the saints and the beloved city. And fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them.
Okay, so these guys surround Jerusalem, and fire comes down from heaven and destroys them in this last Gog and Magog war. Mama?
The devil who deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and they will be tormented day and night forever and ever.
Okay, so the devil is down there with the other two.
Then I saw a great white throne, and him who sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them.
So there's two judgments. Those of us that are believers, when we get to heaven, well, at the beginning of the millennium, if not immediately after we get to heaven, we are going to go to the Bema seat, and that is where believers are given their crowns for the good things that they've done. We don't think that they're going to be punished for the things that they haven't done. But then that's one judgment. This other judgment is for those people that were not believers. They're going to end up at the great white throne judgment. You don't want to end up there. Next.
Oh, and I saw the dead, small and great, standing before God, and books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged according to their works by the things which were written in the book.
Our bad deeds have been covered by Jesus' blood, if you believe it. But if you don't, you're going to be judged according to everything you've done here on earth. And it's not going to be pretty. Next.
The sea gave up the dead who were in them. The death and Hades delivered up the dead who were in them. And they were judged, each one according to his works.
Yeah.
Then death and Hades were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And anyone not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.
Believers are in the Lamb's book of life. Everyone else ends up in the lake of fire.
Do we know the time?
Of when this happens?
Yes.
The end of the millennium.
Yes.
So, right here. Right here is when this great white throne judgment is going to be. Before next week, this is the end of what we've got this week. Next week we have the new heaven and new earth. That's it from the end of the millennium on, and that goes on for eternity. And we'll talk about that next week when we finish the book. Comments?
You made a comment about going home and reading.
Yes, Ezekiel 38, 39.
Would you share your opinion on that?
This is the first time ever that this group of nations is lined up. And it appears to turn into a world war. Read Ezekiel 38, 39. 38 talks about the players that are involved. 39 talks about the cleanup in Israel. And evidently, some of these things come from the east, so probably Iran. That's one reason I say that Trump is not going to fully clean up before he gets out of there. And there's going to be something that comes from the east that it backfires on that country. Evidently, this thing somewhat explodes. At least one or more of them explode in their own country. And then more of it comes over into Israel. And it says that the stuff that's there, Israel can have power, will be able to run everything in Israel off of the instruments of war that are left there in that area. And they have to send in people in special suits in order to pick up the bones that are left months later, because evidently it sounds like radioactivity.
Chernobyl.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like radioactivity. So read it and you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's Ezekiel 38, 39. And a lot of people are going, yeah. Because as things move along here, and don't get me wrong, I think Trump had to do what he did, or we'd be facing it anyway. But it's scary.
Monday's a big day, too.
Beg your pardon?
Monday is a big day.
Well, Monday starts at about sundown tonight in Israel. Yeah, right. At about 6 o'clock tonight is when it'll be morning over there. And I was listening to somebody this morning, and I thought he said something very profound. Trump has, and he's an analyst, he said Trump has this thing about, he'll say that he's going to attack at a certain time. He
No, he moves ahead.
He waits, and now he has them on edge for a number of days, if not a couple of weeks, and then he blesses them. And he's given them every opportunity to go ahead and come to the table before and during that whole time, and they aren't coming to the table, at least not.
Well, Dolores, when we talked about that, I said to Fred, how do you get someone to come to the table who believes that if they die and kill, they're going to glory and have all these wonderful things? I mean, that we don't have a clue on how to deal with the culture.
No. You're absolutely right. Anybody else? Could I have somebody close us in prayer? And I'm not meaning to scare you, just go home and read these. Yeah. There's one statement in